Growing up in a small town is like living in a world where everything feels familiar and comforting. The roads are quiet, the faces are known, and the days often follow the same rhythm. You wake up to the sound of birds rather than traffic, and most shops close early because no one's really in a rush. Life feels slower, but in the best way possible. It gives you space to think, to feel, and to grow without too much pressure. That kind of environment builds something really important in a person: patience, appreciation for the little things, and a deep understanding of community. There's something special about knowing the people around you by name. Your neighbors, your classmates, even the local shopkeeper who always saves your favorite crisps at the counter. You don't just pass each other by, you stop, you talk, you care, and the friendships you make in a place like that, they aren't shallow or temporary. They are the kind that start with playing hide and seek in the street and grow into long conversations under the stars about your biggest dreams and deepest fears. In a small town, your world feels safe. Maybe it's because everyone looks out for one another. If your bike breaks, someone's uncle will fix it. If you have a bad day, your best friend will be at your door with snacks and silly jokes. And during school holidays, instead of going far away, you find joy in little adventures, bike rides to the edge of town, helping out in family gardens, making up stories in treehouses, and watching sunsets from the same old bench on the hill. But even in that simplicity, dreams begin to form. They start small, like wondering what it would be like to visit a big city. Then they grow. Maybe one day you'll study at university, become a writer, or travel the world. And the amazing thing is, those dreams often start because of the people around you. A teacher who believes in you, a friend who tells you you're brave, or a parent who encourages you to try something new. In small towns, support doesn't always come with loud praise. It comes in quiet, powerful ways. Like someone giving you their time or saying, "I believe in you," when you least expect it. The small routines of everyday life in a town like that also shape your values. Doing chores at home teaches responsibility. Helping neighbors shows kindness. Saving up pocket money for something special teaches patience. There's a rhythm to life, but it's never boring. It gives you space to think, to build character, and to grow stronger in your own identity. And within all of that, your friendships remain constant, growing deeper as you grow up together, sharing dreams, doubts, and memories that will last a lifetime. Of course, sometimes it feels like the world beyond your little town is moving faster. You hear stories of exciting places, big opportunities, and people chasing massive goals. You wonder where you fit into that picture. But at the same time, the quiet strength and closeness of your small town roots give you a kind of inner calm. You realize that while the world might be rushing forward, you have something steady and solid to build from. And that's where the real magic happens. You're not just dreaming anymore. You're starting to prepare. You know that one day you and your friends might go your separate ways, following different paths in different cities. But you also know that no matter how far you go, the small town where it all began will always be part of you. It's the place where your dreams were born, and the friendships you made will always be part of your story. It's easy to overlook the beauty of a simple beginning, but those are often the most powerful beginnings of all. Because when you step into the big, wide world, it's not just what you know that will guide you. It's where you came from, the people who stood by you, and the values you carry in your heart. That's what growing up in a small town gives you. And that's what makes chasing big dreams not only possible, but meaningful. As time goes on, something begins to change. You still love the small town. You've grown up in the familiarity, the routines, the friendships. But a quiet voice inside you starts whispering, what else is out there? It's not that you want to leave everything behind. It's just that you start to feel something pulling you forward. Maybe it's a subject at school that lights you up, or a conversation with someone who's done something different with their life. Maybe it's just that natural feeling of curiosity, wanting to see what exists beyond the edges of what you've always known. At first, those dreams feel a bit far away. You imagine walking through a university campus, holding textbooks, talking to people from different backgrounds. You picture working in a place with tall buildings or exciting projects. And then there's the version of yourself you imagine too. More confident, more capable, someone who is still you, just somehow more complete. It's like looking into a window of your future life, and even though it's a little blurry, you know something important is waiting there. But dreaming about something bigger doesn't mean you stop loving what you already have. In fact, it's the opposite. The values and lessons you've learned in your early years give you the courage to want more for yourself. You've been taught to work hard, to care about others, and to stay grounded. Those lessons form the foundation beneath every dream you dare to build. The dream of education often comes first. It's not just about getting good grades or going to a top university. It's about the idea that learning can open doors. You start realizing that education is a key, and with it, you can unlock all sorts of possibilities. Whether you want to become a teacher, a scientist, an artist, or even start your own business, knowledge is the path that can get you there. And the more you learn, the more you begin to understand what you're capable of. With that understanding comes the dream of a career. Not just a job, but something meaningful, something that excites you when you wake up in the morning. It might take time to figure out what that is. You might try one thing and realize it's not quite right, but every step is part of the journey. What matters is that you're moving toward a life that reflects who you really are. That's the beauty of dreaming big. You don't need to have all the answers right away. You just need to be willing to explore, to try, to grow, and along the way, something even more powerful happens: personal growth. This is the part no one really tells you about at the beginning. Yes, the education matters, and yes, the career goals matter too, but the biggest transformation happens inside. You begin to learn how to live on your own, how to make decisions, how to bounce back when things don't go as planned. You discover strengths you didn't know you had. Maybe you find your voice during a group project. Maybe you stand up for yourself in a new city where no one knows your story. Little by little, you become the person you once only dreamed of being. Of course, it's not always easy. There are moments of doubt, of fear, of homesickness. There are days when you question whether you've made the right choice, but even those hard days are part of the process. They remind you that growth doesn't always feel good in the moment, but it's worth it, because with every challenge you face, you become more resilient, more focused, and more determined. What's truly special is that as your dreams grow, your perspective does too. You start to realize that dreaming big isn't selfish, it's inspiring. It shows others what's possible. It sends a message to your younger self, and maybe even to someone else watching you quietly from afar. If I can do it, so can you. And suddenly, you're not just living your dream. You're lighting the way for someone else's. So when you think about leaving your small town to chase something bigger, it's not about running away. It's about reaching toward the person you're meant to be. It's about taking the love, the lessons, and the memories from where you started, and using them to build a life that's bold, brave, and full of purpose. That's what dreaming of something bigger is really about. It's about believing that your story can grow beyond what you've known, and that the best chapters are still waiting to be written. The moment you step outside your comfort zone, everything starts to feel unfamiliar. The streets aren't the ones you grew up walking. The people around you don't know your name, and suddenly the small routines you always relied on are gone. It's exciting, yes, but it's also frightening. You realize that all the dreams you've carried for so long are now being tested, not by someone else, but by your own courage, and that's when the real journey begins. There's this idea that chasing your dreams is supposed to feel magical, and sometimes it does, but what often gets overlooked are the moments when your stomach twists with nerves, or when your voice shakes as you introduce yourself in a room full of strangers. It's in these quiet, hidden moments that your growth actually happens. Because stepping into the unknown forces you to confront every fear you never had to face when you stayed in the familiar. Fear of failure, fear of not being good enough, fear of being misunderstood. All of it surfaces. The first few days in a new place can feel overwhelming. You look around and wonder how everyone else seems so confident. You miss the familiar sounds of home, the friends who knew how to make you laugh without trying, the streets you could walk with your eyes closed. And yet, there you are standing in a place you once dreamed of being. That contradiction is real, and it's powerful. Because while one part of you longs for the safety of what you knew, the other part is slowly learning how to stand taller, even when your hands are trembling. You start having to make decisions on your own. What to eat, when to study, how to budget, who to trust. These might seem like small things, but they come with their own weight. At first, the pressure might make you question if you're really ready. But over time, each choice, even the wrong ones, teaches you something. You begin to realize that making mistakes doesn't mean you're failing. It means you're trying, and every time you push through the discomfort, you grow a little braver. Sometimes the fear doesn't even come from the outside, it's internal. It's the voice in your head that says you don't belong in the room, that others are smarter, more prepared, more confident. But then something shifts. Maybe it's a kind word from a professor, a successful presentation, or a new friend who reminds you that they feel the same way. Slowly, you begin to quiet that inner critic. You start believing that you do belong, that you've earned your place here, and that you're allowed to take up space. What's interesting is that facing challenges doesn't always come with big, dramatic moments. Often, it's just showing up to class when you'd rather stay in bed, showing up to a club meeting even though you're nervous about meeting new people, showing up for yourself again and again, even on days when your confidence is low. These small acts of bravery add up. They build resilience, and they remind you that courage isn't the absence of fear, it's acting in spite of it. You also start to realize that challenges aren't roadblocks, they're invitations. Every challenge is asking you, how badly do you want this? How far are you willing to go? And when you answer with action, when you choose to try again after falling short, you begin rewriting your own story. The person you become in those moments isn't just stronger. They're wiser, more empathetic, and more capable of navigating life. Not just school or work, but real life. There's something powerful about watching yourself grow from the inside out. One day, the things that used to scare you don't anymore. The city that once felt too big becomes familiar. The conversations that once felt intimidating become easy, and the person you once doubted becomes someone you're genuinely proud of. Facing fears and stepping outside your comfort zone isn't just part of the journey. It is the journey, and the more you embrace it, the more you realize that fear is not a wall, but a doorway, one that leads straight into the life you were meant to live. Arriving in the city for the first time is like being dropped into the middle of a movie you've always wanted to be in. Everything is louder, faster, and more alive. The buildings stretch high above your head, the streets are always busy, and people walk like they know exactly where they're going. There's a buzz in the air that makes your heart beat a little quicker, and even though it's all new and unfamiliar, something about it feels full of promise. You've dreamed of this moment, finally stepping into a world that feels bigger than anything you've known. And now here it is. The first days are thrilling. You move into a small room that suddenly becomes your new home. You explore the campus, take in the fresh notebooks and timetables, and begin to meet people from places you've only read about. There's a spark in every conversation, an excitement in knowing that everyone around you is starting something new too. You find yourself saying yes to everything: clubs, events, late-night chats with your flatmates about life, dreams, and fears. It's a kind of freedom you've never had before, and it feels like the world is finally opening up just for you. But the excitement doesn't come without its struggles. City life moves at a pace that takes time to get used to. The streets you found charming at first now feel overwhelming when you're trying to find your lecture hall in a rush. The grocery shops are busier, the transport more chaotic, and sometimes you miss the peace and predictability of the town you left behind. The same noise that once felt thrilling can start to feel exhausting after a long day, and in those quiet moments, walking home with your headphones in or sitting alone in your room, you feel the weight of the change. University life itself is full of contrasts. Some days it feels like everything is clicking. You're engaged in lectures, participating in seminars, and maybe even finding the confidence to raise your hand and share an idea. You finish your assignments on time, feel proud of your effort, and think to yourself, I can do this. Other days, though, it's not so simple. The workload feels heavy, the deadlines come too fast, and the pressure to succeed starts to creep in. It's not always easy to balance studying, social life, time work, and looking after yourself, especially when no one's there to remind you to eat properly or get some rest. There are moments when the city feels too big, the course feels too hard, and you wonder if you really belong here. That's when the real growth begins. You start learning how to manage your time, how to take breaks when you need them, and how to ask for help without feeling like you've failed. You begin to understand that university isn't just about getting a degree. It's about learning who you are when no one else is managing your life for you. It's about discovering how to be independent, how to cope with pressure, and how to keep going even when you doubt yourself. And then there are the moments of pure joy, the small wins that feel enormous, like making your first real friend in the city, like discovering your favorite cafe where you can study for hours undisturbed, like finally understanding something that confused you for weeks, or like walking home after a long day, looking up at the city lights and realizing that this place is slowly becoming yours. Bit by bit, you stop feeling like a guest and start feeling like you belong. The friendships you form during this time are different, too. They're not just based on shared history, but on shared experience. People who know what it's like to feel overwhelmed and excited at the same time. You celebrate together when things go well and lean on each other when they don't. Those connections become your support system, your chosen family while you're far from home. Eventually, the city stops feeling intimidating and starts feeling familiar. You learn how to navigate the underground, how to cook something decent in a tiny kitchen, how to find quiet corners in the middle of the noise. You learn how to live, not just survive, but actually live. You realize that even with all the chaos and the hard days, you wouldn't trade this experience for anything, because you're not just studying for a future, you're living the start of it right now. That's the thing about city life and university. It pushes you, challenges you, and stretches you. But in return, it offers the chance to become the version of yourself you've always hoped to be. There comes a moment, often without you even realizing it, when everything begins to shift. The excitement of starting fresh, the fear of stepping outside your comfort zone, the rush of the city, and the pressure of university. It all begins to settle into something deeper. That's when the real learning begins, the kind that goes beyond textbooks and lectures. It's not written on a syllabus and there's no grade for it, but it's some of the most important learning you'll ever do. It's the life lessons that come through friendship, through hard work, and through figuring out how to stand on your own 2 feet. Friendship changes in this new stage of life. It's no longer just about who lives down the road or who you've known the longest. It becomes about connection, about people who see you in your hardest moments and still choose to stand by you. You meet people who understand your struggle because they're going through it too. Friends who stay up with you the night before a deadline, who bring you tea when you're too stressed to eat, who sit with you in silence when you just need someone nearby. These friendships aren't just fun. They're grounding. They remind you that you're not alone, even when everything feels overwhelming. And it's through those friendships that you start to see yourself more clearly. They mirror back your strengths when you forget them, and they challenge you in ways that help you grow. They teach you how to communicate better, how to listen, how to compromise, and how to forgive. You learn that people aren't perfect, and neither are you, but that's not what matters. What matters is the choice to stay connected, to support each other, and to build something meaningful in the chaos of university life. Then there's hard work. At first, it might feel like a burden. The late nights, the packed schedules, the endless to-do lists. It all adds up, but slowly you realize that hard work isn't just about pushing through. It's about discipline. It's about showing up for yourself even when no one's watching. It's about staying up to finish a project, not because someone told you to, but because you care about the outcome. And in the process, you start to build something invaluable, pride in your own effort. You stop relying on external praise and begin to feel satisfaction in knowing you gave it your all. Hard work also teaches you about failure, not as something to fear, but as something to learn from. You hand in an assignment that doesn't go well. You mess up a presentation, you forget a deadline. In those moments, it's tempting to feel like giving up. But then you try again, and in trying again, you grow. You begin to understand that resilience isn't about always winning. It's about getting back up and giving yourself permission to improve. That lesson stays with you far beyond your university years. It shapes how you approach everything: work, relationships, goals, and even setbacks. And as you work through those challenges, you start to feel something shift inside independence. It sneaks up on you. It's in the little things at first. Cooking your own meals, paying bills, managing your time, but soon it becomes something bigger. It's the confidence to make your own decisions, to trust your instincts, to know when to say yes and when to say no. You stop looking for approval in the same way. You start taking responsibility for your choices and building a life that reflects who you are, not who you're expected to be. Independence doesn't mean doing everything alone. It means knowing you can if you need to. It means standing tall, even on uncertain ground. It means building a sense of self that's rooted not in where you came from, but in who you're becoming. And that transformation, the one that happens when you're miles away from what used to be normal, is one of the most powerful parts of the journey. By the time you've gone through all of it, the friendships that shaped you, the hard work that tested you, the independence that empowered you, you realize something important. You haven't just studied a subject. You've studied life. You've learned how to connect, how to persevere, and how to stand on your own. You've learned how to carry your past with pride while still moving boldly into your future. And more than anything, you've learned that you're capable of so much more than you ever believed when this all began. After everything, the doubts, the setbacks, the moments of joy and growth, it becomes clear that the journey isn't just about getting a degree or moving to a new place. It's about becoming someone you once only imagined you could be. You look back at where you started. in that small town with simple routines and quiet evenings, and you realize just how far you've come. What once felt like distant dreams now feel like reality, not because the path was easy, but because you kept going when it wasn't. That's the thing about dreams, they don't come true all at once. They're not lightning bolts or grand moments that change everything in an instant. They're quiet steps taken every day. They're staying up late to finish that one assignment, walking into that interview even when you're nervous, asking for help when it's hard to admit you need it. Dreams are built in the everyday choices that show you believe in yourself, even just a little. And if there's one thing that becomes clear by the end of this journey, it's this. Dreams really are possible for everyone, not just the loudest or the smartest or the most confident, everyone, because dreams don't need perfection. They need courage, they need patience, and they need a willingness to grow, to fail, and to try again. The life you imagine, the one full of meaning, purpose, and fulfillment, isn't reserved for someone else. It's within your reach as long as you're willing to chase it step by step. You don't have to have everything figured out. You don't need a perfect plan. What you need is belief, belief that change is possible. That effort matters, that small beginnings can lead to great things. You've already proven that by coming this far. Every lesson learned through friendship, every struggle overcome through hard work, every brave choice made in independence, each one has shaped you into someone stronger, more aware, and more ready for whatever comes next. Hope isn't just some vague feeling you carry around. It's a force. It's what allows you to dream when everything around you says it's safer to stay where you are. It's what pushes you to try again when the first attempt didn't go as planned. And when you see people around you chasing their own dreams, building their lives, and showing up for themselves, it reminds you that you're not alone, that we're all just people trying to make something beautiful out of what we've been given. So if you ever find yourself wondering if it's worth it, if the late nights, the doubts, the long road ahead really matter, remember this. You're becoming someone who inspires others just by moving forward. Someone who proves through action that no dream is too big and no person is too small to chase one, even when the path is difficult and especially when it is, because you've lived it now. You've seen what's possible when you step out of your comfort zone. You've experienced the excitement of something new, the strength it takes to keep going, and the pride of growing into yourself. And maybe that's the most powerful message of all. You are capable of more than you know. Not someday, not when everything is perfect. Now, exactly as you are, the dreams you hold are not just fantasies, they are potential. They're the start of something real, and you have every right to pursue them, just like anyone else. And if you hold on to that hope, if you stay committed to the process, and if you keep showing up for yourself, then no matter where you started, the future will always be full of possibility. Thank you for being part of this journey, from the quiet streets of a small town to the bright lights of a big dream. Together, we've looked at what it really means to grow, not just in knowledge, but in courage, in resilience, and in character. We've seen how deep friendships can shape us, how hard work can refine us, and how stepping into the unknown can help us discover who we truly are. City life and university bring both challenge and change, but through every twist and turn, there's something powerful being built inside, a version of yourself that's ready for the world. And through it all, there's one message that remains true. No dream is out of reach. No beginning is too small, and no journey is ever wasted when you move forward with purpose and hope. So wherever you are in your own story, starting out in the middle or finding your way again, remember this. You already have everything inside you to go further, to grow stronger, and to chase the life you've imagined. Keep believing, keep showing up, and never stop dreaming. Thank you for listening, and take care.